then so we're taking distilled water basically from the beginning. Once we get it out of the wheel, it's distilled, and then that gets put through some pumps, and then, like I said, stored. So it's mainly this zeolite wheel that's doing most of the work right now. Yeah.
Got it. So this is an incredible concept. Like, how did sorry about that, just making an adjustment. How did you come about this? Like, what inspired you to really want to create something that people could pull water out of the air like that?
Yeah, well, actually, so basically, this like I said began about 7 years ago. My parents had a small farm outside of LA, and they had their water rights threatened by the state because it was the drought in California. And so at that time, I was living near Venice Beach. I noticed all the dew that's forming every night. Everything's soaking wet in the morning when you wake up. And at that time, I was a creative technologist working at this large advertising agency. So I already had like the ability to make anything. I do 3D printing, 3D modeling, programming, robotics, that kind of thing. So I just started to make these prototypes to capture the dew that would form overnight, and I built that up into larger and more complicated machines that was actually able to make up to 10 gallons of drinking water a day. Um, and I tried to get that product launched. I did an Indiegogo, which failed miserably, terribly. And I got taken apart on Reddit, and I learned a lot through that whole process of putting myself out there in the world and on the internet, and just mainly learning about how important it is to narrow the focus of your market. It's like you have to know who you're speaking to when you design and make and launch a product. You've got to have the customer in mind all along the way, which again is why I'm so grateful that we were able to do this workshop together, is because I was able to learn and figure out who it was that we were actually speaking to, which has helped us to define our current product, and also the language that we use to speak to our potential customers. Does that answer your question?
It does, and I appreciate that. I actually want to come back and talk to you some more about that because I have had just a blast working with you as well and talking about that process. Tell me a little bit more about you mentioned that you had an Indiegogo campaign and that it failed. Like a lot of people who go out there to start new businesses go to crowdfunding, and there's always that ideal of, yeah, this will be amazing if I can get all this money to fund my project, and then it doesn't happen, right? Or something like that doesn't happen. What was that like for you? Like, I guess what happened that it went wrong, and what was that process like for you?
Um, I mean, it was just painful. I mean, because you can be idealistic and say, wow, I've invented a product that everything in the world needs water. Every person, every living creature, every plant, obviously, needs water. So it's like, wow, why can't I make a product that can be useful for all those people and for all those creatures and life forms, which is like the widest net I could have possibly imagined. But the problem is that you can't really effectively communicate to all those different verticals at the same time with the same language, and then the different interaction, the user interface for each one of those sectors is different as well. So yeah, so I got a lot of positive feedback from across the board, but it didn't match necessarily the price point for one group, or didn't the size was too big, or it was too loud for another group, or it's like everyone had these little issues with it. So now, yeah, we've kind of narrowed our focus onto one group of people that we think this product could really help out around the world, and we've refined and simplified the products so that way it's only providing that value to those people.
Got it. So you think that the problem that you had with Indiegogo the most was that you were trying to be too many things to too many different people.
Right.
Got it.
And also, just I think in general, Indiegogo, I think our price on Indiegogo was about $1,500, $1,400, and that's a lot of money for anyone to put down on a Indiegogo isn't known for being that reliable of a platform necessarily. People are kind of optimistically putting money towards a product, but typically I think they're more in like the $50, maybe 20 to $100, because mostly people would put money into an Indiegogo campaign that they could stand to lose. But with our product, $1,500 was such a high price point that I don't think as many people were willing to take that bet on us.
Got it. Got it. So also sort of a market mismatch there, just the wrong marketplace and being so many things to so many different people, and it just led to a campaign that fell apart.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned you were torn apart on Reddit. What was that like? What happened there?
Man, I don't even want to talk about it. I just I got I mean just trolls, I guess, and I mean some good points though too. But people either would take a glance at our product and be like, oh, this is stupid because of XYZ, and they didn't even like read what it is that our product does, or people just make these assumptions. They took like literally 10-second glance at it and they're like, oh, this is stupid because of this.
Hmm.
Those are actually things that we've taken into consideration. That was one part of it. You know, I mean, another part of it is that I just seemed too stereotypical of a character somehow. It was like, I think they'd say like another white savior trying to, you know, help the world or whatever. And I mean, I think that has to do with my tone and the way that I presented it, because I in the Indiegogo video I was very, I want to say, magnanimous. I was like, look what I've done for the world, and I think since then and going through that experience, I've really humbled myself a lot. I'm grateful that to have committed so much time and energy into this product, and that it can do good things for people. That's all that's really important. I'm not. I don't need to really be the champion of the product, or I don't really need to have so much pride, and I really don't anymore. I'm really just focused on providing value for these people, and literally helping out as many people as possible. But again, it's not like about me; it's about the product, I think, and
Got
it's about
it.
the team too. I mean, like I have an incredible team with Spout who have a ton of experience in very specific areas, and I couldn't do any of this without them.
So is that a shift that you feel like do you feel that in the past as you were being too egotistical about it, or were you just speaking a different way about it? It sounds almost like you have been on this journey to sort of discover your voice and how you fit in this over this process. And how has that been? What have you learned that other people who might be going through this same transition right now might understand?
What I've learned is, to listen more than speak. It's kind of the old thing where you got two ears and one mouth. That's to be the ratio, of listening to speaking. So I do a lot more listening. I do a lot more time, spend a lot more time planning. I try to do this at least twice a week, where I set aside 45 minutes with no distractions at all, and just write and focus on the problems, instead of just because I think the ego can come up when you're a first time entrepreneur and say like, oh, I've got the solution. This is what we're gonna do, and then you could spend 9 months or a year or 2 years, whatever, focusing on that vision that you only spent, in the very beginning, 5 minutes thinking about. Oh, we're gonna go in this direction, and just committing to that. Whereas it's just so much, it's such a better way to go to stop yourself and spend as much time as you can possibly afford looking at all the different options. You might find a solution and think, this is great. I couldn't imagine anything better, but let me go back to the well. Let me keep digging. Let me see if there's anything else. And there another way that we could come around this, or, oh yeah, I've got that old friend who knows about like this market, or he said something at this trade show and I should think about that. So the more time that anyone could spend thinking and planning and like drawing and writing, and listening, I think the better results that they're going to have with their company, because the customer is going to tell you exactly what they want. And I see another big mistake that entrepreneurs make is they think that they know what customers want without talking to anyone. Like I said, I think I've made that mistake as well. And a lot of entrepreneurs make the product for a customer, but it's really just for themselves. Like they make a product to fit their needs. And they're like, well, my needs are everyone else's needs. Or that's the dangerous assumption that a lot of entrepreneurs make. So again, I think it's about listening, taking notes, and thinking really critically about your plan before you take any action.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So in the time then since you had this Indiegogo campaign that misfired to now, and you've learned these lessons. So I guess what have you implemented? What are you doing right now? What have you learned in your listening, and perhaps who are you speaking to right now?
Yeah. So I mean, what I've learned is really, like I said, to focus. And the people who what our product does is it makes fresh drinking water. That's the value that our product creates. So thinking about who does that value the most? What customer segment were we aiming for in the past? But which one of those verticals is actually the most values what we're what our value is the most. So working with you, we were able to put together a customer avatar of a fictional character who had the need for our product, who needed it, to live and to identify, help develop their sense of identity in a way as well. But ultimately provided fresh drinking water when they didn't have any. Because one thing I've learned is that people who are thirsty, um, you know, want our product the most, and
Hmm.
those are the people who I want to get the product to the most. So focusing, kind of narrowing our focus on those people, and also tying together that those people also care about the planet, that they don't want more extra water bottle waste, that they don't want the water delivery, CO2, carbon emissions waste, and they don't want all the different kind of negative side effects from the other ways that they can get fresh water. They don't want any of those negative effects. They just want pure water. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to flip the bottle over. They don't want to deal with a monthly bill. They just want fresh drinking water. So
Hmm.
for us to be able to focus on the people who just want that, has, I think, helped us a lot. I mean, changes the way that we speak to people and the way that we've designed our product.
Gotcha. Gotcha. You showed us a little bit of the machine that's behind you there. Are you able to? I don't know if you can move it or not, or show it. Can we take a look at it?
Sure.
This is really cool, and that just sits right on top of your kitchen counter. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that
Excellent.
good enough?
Yeah. No. 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 That's fantastic. You told me a story as well that got you into this about meeting a mother. I think it was in Michigan. Yeah.
In Flint, Michigan, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So it was kind of while our Indiegogo campaign was failing. I made this trip out to Flint, Michigan for the Flint Water Unity Festival in 2017, and again, this is when I was starting to when that, like I said, our campaign was already not doing very well, not going according to plan. Um, so that's when I started doing more listening. So I was like, because again, like I launched that campaign thinking that I was aiming at the right target and that I was, whatever, doing it right. But again, and I realized I hadn't like taken in what people actually wanted and given them what they wanted. So again, so I go to this Flint Water Unity Festival and they, don't have any fresh drinking water. All the water's poison there. And I met this mother who had accidentally poisoned and killed her two kids. And that moment, I grew up in LA, so people in LA don't they think, oh, tap water, that's fine, we don't have to worry about anything. But to go from that experience of growing up in LA to meeting someone who had, yeah, accidentally killed their two children
Hmm.
by serving them water, it's like you give that's when it changed. Everything kind of changed for me, because you think about what it's like to give somebody a cup of water. Like somebody comes into your home and like one of the first things you ask them is, "Would you like a glass of water or tea or coffee or something?" And there's this kind of this serving. It's a gift in a way, and it's usually, I feel like, that comes from the heart of like, here's a cup of water. It's something that we can kind of throw away, but also I think is like has a deeper meaning to it. To me, I mean, it's a genuine act of kindness and like of shared humanity. Like we all need this substance to live, obviously. So to think of like a mother like wanting to help her kids grow and survive and thrive, and then having that accidentally have poisoned them, like that's just like the most terrifying thought I think that I'd ever come across in the space. I think it's a terrifying thought for any parent or any family member to be so betrayed by the water utility companies that don't care enough to be on your side and to um I mean, you put all of your faith in them and then they're not able to give you a reliable product. So anyway, so that really made it real for me, and I promised her that I would never give up on this mission, no matter what. Um, yeah, and I've definitely wanted to. There's definitely been many times where it's really hard to run a startup, and things don't always go right, clearly. So, but to have that kind of motivation and to know deeply that people need this product, and that more and more people around the world are going to need this product in the future, like that's given me a lot of energy to focus and just keep working on this no matter what, make it better and better. Yeah.
So that's I mean it's a horrible story, but at the same time it's a beautiful story that you have done this and you're committed to this mission. So I guess what what advice do you have then? I mean, you sort of said what keeps you going, but when it gets tough, when you get to an Indiegogo campaign that completely fails, when you get to online hate, when you get to just the day-to-day grind of what it is, this mission, when you want to give up and you want to be like, screw this, I'm off to do something else, what do you do to keep yourself moving forward?
um I mean, I mean, I think the first thing I do is take a break, because usually I feel like if I'm going really really hard, and I do work 7 days a week these days, um, you know, and I will burn out, and I will say f this, and I can't, but that's usually, like I said, I just need to take the afternoon off and go on a run, or take a dip or something, and relax for a little bit. But there's so much momentum behind it now with my team and everything, that they immediately fill me up, and get me back to work and crack the whip on me. And yeah, I mean, it's all about having that good work life balance. So I mean, that, and yeah, the people that we know in Flint, Michigan, and around the world, who are constantly complaining, and then also, of course, all the news almost every day about droughts getting worse everywhere, and how we have less and less fresh water on the earth, year after year. So it's like, it's actually a lot of pressure, because it's like this impending sense of impending doom that definitely keeps me focused. But again, I'm very good about taking a break when I get to burnt out, which is pretty easy to do. And I do have a lot of motivation to keep me in the saddle. So yeah, I just work as hard as I can, and that's it. And I don't leave anything on the court, and that's been good enough.
Excellent. Well, that's amazing, man. It's really inspiring what you're up to, and this is so cool. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come and tell us about this today. So, everybody, this is Reuben Vollmer. Thank you again, CEO of Spout. This is one of the coolest new technologies coming out. Keep an eye on this. Definitely follow. There's more to come. Where can people find you right now, Reuben?
On Instagram, Spout Water, and my personal Instagram is Rubik's Cube, REUBIX underscore cube II. But yeah, check out Spout Water Instagram. Follow us. We're basically, we're doing this, a new manufacturing run right now, so we're kind of gearing up for another big product launch. So everything's a little quiet right now, but everything's also in motion. So yeah, follow us.
Excellent. All right. Reuben Vollmer, thank you so much again for joining us. Thank you guys for being here. And we'll talk to you again really soon.
Awesome. Thank you.